we're good. Some water, some chips, we're good to go.
And it powered Nick to a one-on-one basketball victory.
Rico, any thoughts?
It wasn't a true one-on-one because we didn't go to our suggested score, but we were both gassed because we are out of shape. So it came down to a 3-point shootout from the corners. You made one, I rebutted. You made another, I did not rebuttal.
Yep.
There were a lot of misses in between, but we won't talk about those.
We don't talk about the misses. We just talk about the makes, and I made more shots than you did.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
At the end of the day, that is what it comes down to. Again, we're here till about 5 o'clock. If you've got any thoughts that you want our thoughts on, let us know. 402-464-5685. We have access to our Starter Heyman text line out here. News of the day, Evan Cooper resigns his post as defensive backs coach and passing game coordinator for Nebraska football. And then within not even 24 hours, but within about 12 hours, 13, 14 hours, Nebraska seems to have a replacement lined up. Nick, we'll start with you. The news of Evan Cooper resigning in, early July, halfway through summer ball.
Well, I mean, it's the second straight year now Nebraska and Matt Rule have had to replace a coach relatively late in the offseason, right? It's, if you even want to call it the offseason anymore. You have fall camp starting in 1 month, in less than a month. And so you got to figure out, a way to kind of keep things as seamless as possible. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Nebraska, they got to figure out a way to replace and upgrade and move on without one of their, what we always referred to him as, and we've been told this ever since he got here, is one of the best evaluators on this staff, talent evaluators in the recruiting game on this staff. You can say what you want about the secondary. You could say what you want about the defense, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, this was a guy that kind of was the jewel of the biggest story of Matt Rule's staff. Maybe not in terms of name recognition, maybe not in terms of experience, but don't forget, right? Remember, Evan Cooper found Jalen Lloyd, and there was that piece of it to where Coop saw Jalen Lloyd on film and said, "Wait a minute, we gotta figure out a way to get this guy on campus for football in addition to track,
not just a track guy."
There was that evaluator piece that I think Nebraska's going to have to really work around. There's a lot of secondary coaches, there's a lot of DB coaches out there. Is it a loss? Yeah, it is. But Nebraska, I think, found a pretty good replacement in a quick amount of time. Without speculating on why Evan Cooper resigned and why it was kind of abrupt, I thought Nebraska did a good job.
Yeah, Rico, you're the track guy, right? And that's one of the things that Cooper looked at was the track times in finding them, identifying these athletes that had maybe the raw traits, but also then that the coaches could turn into, legitimate football players, whether it's in the Big 12 before or the Big 10 now. That's a loss, right? Because like Nick's saying, if Nebraska wants to be a development program and he put so much on Evan Cooper to find these kind of diamonds in the rough, you wonder if recruiting's going to look different with Evan Cooper gone.
Oh, recruiting's definitely going to be a lot different with him gone because, as Nick was saying, as we've heard multiple times before, he was their recruiting guru. He was the guy who you would send out to find these diamonds in the rough, to find these guys who are, blazers on the track. And even then, some of these guys that they were recruiting weren't, it's not like they had amazing track times, but the way that they ran and the shapes of their bodies, you could tell, okay, this guy might not have a future in track and field, but he will be a burner on the field. So losing Evan Cooper, honestly, I'm not even looking at the defensive back room. I'm not looking at his prowess as a DB coach. I'm looking at his prowess as a recruiter. I think that's going to be the part that Nebraska is losing the most on, and the part that they're going to hopefully find multiple people to fill that position, because the way that he was able to evaluate talent, bring it in, and connect with a lot of these athletes as they were coming onto campus for official, unofficial visits, what have you, that is what he was invaluable at the most, is the way that he was able to bring these guys in, make them feel like this could be your home for the next 4 or 5 years, and then in a lot of cases bring them in afterwards and have them beat Huskers.
Well, I'll ask both of you this question. Start with Rico and then bounce to Nick. On the A to F traditional letter grade scale, what grade would you give Evan Cooper for the work he did with the secondary and then with recruiting in his year at Nebraska?
With the secondary, I mean, I know that this defensive secondary gave up a lot of passing yards, and it was the part of the defense that people were scared of the most in terms of giving up big plays and touchdowns. But I would say just average. I would say C, and in that I would say it's part of the recruiting as well, because bringing in Malcolm Hartzog's in the second year, right? Bringing in a Malcolm Hartzog as a return in his third year.
Yep.
Okay. But bringing in those guys and being able to coach them, I mean, having Malcolm Hartzog go to corner, move to safety, and still kind of get the best out of him, even though he's a shorter guy and was looked at as more of a return specialist when he was brought in. I think I would say like a C+ probably in terms of the play on the field, and a B+ in terms of recruiting.
I don't know, guys. I think I would give him a better grade, actually, potentially in on-field than I would in recruiting. I think you look at the recruits and they collectively, the staff, I should say, recruited a lot of guys that could play both sides, right? We saw it with like Jeremiah Charles. He switches sides. They moved Tommy Hill back to the offensive side, or excuse me, they moved Tommy Hill to the defensive side. There was a lot of guys that have now changed positions, and it's been under their regime, right, under their staff. And so I thought the secondary was fine last year. I thought it was the weaker part of the defense, sure. I didn't think it was like that bad of a deal. I thought Nebraska's linebackers at times were sometimes more of an issue last year, trying to keep up with some guys across the middle and a lot of those shorter routes. I thought the tackling was better last year. Like I thought that piece was applicable, or was a thing last year to where tackling was better. You also had some experience in that secondary. I'm not sure if we can really give a true grade on it, because I don't know if there was enough time or enough substance for us to look at. So because of that, I'll put like B- collectively as the entire thing. But I thought the play on the field was okay from the secondary last year.
Tommy Hill is the success story in that group, right? Singleton and
Omar
Buford.
Brown, I could say,
Brown definitely took a step up. But Tommy Hill, having bounced back and forth between wide receiver and DB, other staffs not knowing where to put him, this Nebraska staff and Evan Cooper, the head of that room, did find a place for him. He responded with, I think he had double-digit pass breakups or
That's
close
correct.
to it.
Yep.
And of course, we've talked every offseason about Nebraska needs to create more turnovers. But when Tommy Hill got settled out of position, he really grew into the role. He thrived. That's why you feel pretty good about that cornerback spot for Nebraska this year. Hartzog, I expected more out of, right? Bit of a sophomore slump last year. And I'm going to attribute that to switching positions, which, again, we just talked about with Tommy Hill. They picked a position and he thrived at it. But due to injuries, right, Buford coming back from his injury, not being ready to go, Hartzog was bounced back and forth from safety to corner. He held up okay at corner. I liked him there as a freshman. As a sophomore, going back and forth, that's always going to be difficult. So I don't know how much of that is on Evan Cooper and how much of that was just the situation dictating the circumstance and the response to it. So I'm expecting a better year out of Malcolm Hartzog this year. Isaac Gifford, I think, was pretty hit or miss, right? Played his best football at Nebraska so far, but also I think he would tell you as well, there's a lot he's got to clean up. Some teams really started picking on him and his eyes. He wanted to play in the box instead of deep. Omar Brown was really good, to your point, Nick. So on the field, I think there are definitely strides in the right direction. And recruiting, I think, is interesting, too, because these diamond-in-the-rough prospects very rarely hit early, right? When you think about recruiting 5-stars, it's guys that come in and play immediately, or they need their 4 games to get acclimated to the speed, but they're such physical specimens, or they're so mentally advanced, they pick it up so quick. They're just undeniable. Jalen Lloyd has undeniable speed on the field, but again, football was secondary or tertiary to him in high school, and he paid immediate dividends in year 1. I would presume he's the starter at slot for Nebraska, at least at this point. But I think we'll hear about a lot more of the recruiting success stories under Evan Cooper and the first class of Matt Rule in a few years, when those guys have had time to settle the position, have put more weight on, and then kind of the Iowa, Wisconsin, Big Ten West developmental model. It's not year 1 that you hear from these guys. You hear about them, but you really hear from them and see their impact year 3, 4, 5.
Does Evan Cooper's departure kind of put in question, and now I'm spacing on his name, the wide receiver that moved to corner?
Is that Demetrius Bell?
No, not Demetrius Bell.
Jeremiah Charles?
No, the he broke his hand last year in spring ball.
Oh, Jaden Doss.
Jaden Doss.
That's right.
Does that put into question Jaden Doss's move from wide receiver to corner? Because that's a guy that, when he first came in was flashing in spring ball and fall ball, and then he broke his hand. He was one of the guys that was thought to be the first freshman to see the field as a wide receiver. Then he breaks his hand and he tries to work his way back during the season, isn't quite there. And then this offseason, you see that he's moving to corner. Is that, with that position flexibility, but now you lose the guy who potentially made that move and asked to bring him onto the defensive side. Does that pull into question that? Do we see him potentially move back to offense?
I would say this, and Austin, before I'll go real quick before you go. I just think like they made the hire so quickly. It makes me think that this was something that happened probably earlier in the week, and they just kind of were able to keep a muzzle on it with the holiday. I truly think so. I mean, and that's not a bad thing, right? Like that actually is kind of a good thing. Like that you were able to kind of keep some things in house. That not everything has to be on blast for everybody to see. Transparency is important, yes. But we don't need to know why Evan Cooper resigned. The fans, frankly, don't need to know why Evan Cooper resigned. Media, sure, it'd be nice, but we don't need to know, right? We do know what we know. And at the end of the day, Evan Cooper resigns. They quickly, within 24 hours, Matt Rule had a guy that he tabs as the defensive backs coach going forward. And now you hope that over the last 72 hours, over the last however long he's been kind of seeing this coming, he's been evaluating. Okay, who are these guys in the room? You have just a little over a month until you start the season against UTEP and then a pretty big one against Colorado the following week. You got to figure out what you're going to do with some guys in that room, who's going to play. Fortunately enough, you do have some experience. You have that experience that he's going to be able to lean on to say, okay, you guys kind of lead this thing. I'll get caught up to speed. And then hopefully by the start of the season, which you would expect it to, because it's a guy that's been in a lot of locker rooms, you're going to be able to, he's going to say, I'm going to take the reins on this. But for right now, it's a lot on the coach to evaluate, I think, the talent and what they have in that room. But it's another thing for Gifford, Deshaun Singleton, Marquise Buford Jr., those guys to step up and say, guys, nothing changes. This is still our room. We just have a new guy calling the shots.
We know how to play football. We're going to continue to know how to play football. Before we get to
the defensive set doesn't change. Like that's the biggest
Tony
thing.
White's still there.
Yeah, Tony
Burbage
White's
the
still
same.
there. You have assistants that are still there. Like there are the verbiage is still the same. You didn't lose your defensive coordinator.
No.
Not to downplay this. It's a position coach. You should be able to manage it, especially with some experience in that room.
There's going to be small, minute changes just to, certain things that they do in the defensive backfield, maybe a little bit of the wordage that they use. But you're right. In terms of the defense as a whole, it's going to be practically the same.
We'll get to the replacement here in a minute because there's a lot to get to with him. But I want to touch on something Nick brought up. Like, not everything has to be shared.
Mm-hmm.
This Nebraska football program, every offseason, it's something.
Yeah.
Every offseason. It's something for like 5-6 years, right? You think about the Maurice Washington stuff, the Jonathan Rutledge special teams thing, coaching, which is going away. Wager last offseason, like every offseason, or the opening statement gate.
Yeah,
something happens with this program every year. On the one hand, this fits right in. Oh my gosh, Nebraska's losing a position coach in early July.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? It's second straight year. I mean, it's par for the course for this program. But it also seems like this one, again, despite everything we've talked about, with how big a deal Evan Cooper seemed to be to Matt Rule, his importance in the machine, maybe it's recency bias, maybe it's the fact that it's only day one of the story, but this one doesn't feel as big of a knock on the program. It feels like sometimes things happen, the program handles it, the timing isn't ideal, but this one doesn't seem as damaging or as negative maybe as some of the other ones in recent years have.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that ultimately when it's all said and done here, Nebraska's going to be just fine. I think we get so infatuated with stories and we get so caught up in, what did this guy do to lose his job? Well, at the end of the day, that's not always a good thing to have a program or be a fan of a program that you get to find out all its secrets. It is okay. Think about it as your family, right? Do you want every single person in the entire college football world knowing exactly why you got divorced or why you broke up with a girlfriend or why, whatever the case may be? I wouldn't.
Just know that it happens.
Like, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. And at the end of the day, I just think that Nebraska is a very polarizing program. That's a good thing. It is a good thing. But I've talked about him before. I need to calm down on it a little bit. The folks on Twitter got to stop. The folks on Twitter got to stop.
The speculation is
if you are one
annoying.
of those folks on Twitter.
Yeah, speculation from the folks on Twitter is it goes too far.
There's a difference between being a fan and I'm heavily rooting for every single Husker fan because I grew up that way. But when it's all said and done, please do not speculate, because here's the thing. There's been some very, very incorrect, inaccurate information spread on Twitter today and yesterday after Evan Cooper resigned. And you know what? I'll throw out the personal guarantee. I guarantee you that you do not know what happened. And so at the end of the day,
do they get their money back? If they
Sure.
Yeah,
You
a
can
Nick
get your
Sainert money
you can
back
get your
guarantee.
Twitter Blue subscription, so that way you can change tweets when the right information comes out from one of the media people. When you change your tweets and you want to switch it, you can get that Twitter Blue subscription money back.
Dude,
Sure.
let's be honest. Like some of these people on Twitter have a lot of power, shall we say, within the fan base.
Oh,
They have a lot of sway in the fan base. So honestly, if you want to do whatever you're still doing, continue doing it. Just be careful with what you say, because you have a lot of power. You know that people look at your tweets and refer to those as almost the gospel truth, because for some reason they don't trust the other media members. And I'm not calling you a media member, but they don't trust the media members
the media.
who are throwing them out there.
yeah, that's right.
No, I'm not talking about Nick. I'm talking about the people on Twitter. Who you don't trust the media, but you trust this person on Twitter, and it's dangerous. You have to be careful with what you say, because people will take it and run with it.
Yeah,
It's interesting to hear that comment and your guys' comment, to put it together with the fact that Matt Rule has made more staffers than ever available this year, right? And I think it's not cognitive dissonance, right? There are some stories that need to be shared, right?
Yes.
Hearing from the nutrition staff, hearing from the strength staff, hearing from the recruiting personnel, whoever else it might be. Those are stories worth sharing, getting to know the people behind the operation, because that's what Matt Rule is most proud of at Nebraska. He says always and forever he wants to be proud of the people, whether it's the student athletes coming in or the staffers they're on his payroll, on his staff. He said it's going to be a people first program. We're going to put them first. We're going to focus on them. We're going to spotlight and highlight those people. And he did that with Evan Cooper, right? He brought him with him to the NFL, and then talked about when Evan Cooper was first hired, how Cooper would be up late, 2, 3 in the morning watching film, and these guys say, hey, coach, we got one. Let's go check this kid out. And when the dead period ends or whatever. So the fan accounts might say, well, if you don't want us to speculate, just tell us all the information.
Yeah.
That's a cop-out. I'm sorry. Some things aren't for you to know. Sometimes it's, hey, this happened. I wonder what it could be, without actually wondering what it could be and leaving it at that. It's okay to do that sometimes.
It's also okay for it to just not be as big of a deal. Like, it doesn't need to be made a big deal. Just go with business as usual. I don't want to turn this into like a ranting about accounts
We're already
on
here.
Twitter.
Just keep going.
But like,
You don't need to know everything, and it's okay to not know everything.
Once again, it's okay. Like, this is where it's you're going to get the stories. Like, you'll get to hear the good stories. You'll get to hear the juicy stuff, right? But we don't have to dissect every little thing. And I think, like, nowadays with social media, it's so easy to do so, because, it just, there's things that get posted, and there's other things that they create traction. And a lot of the times the loudest stuff is incorrect. The quietest ones, was that saying, real G's move in silence like lasagna. I just think, like,
Didn't think we'd get to that.
that is so applicable in so many aspects, because the people that do the least amount of talking are usually the most respectable,
because they're doing the most listening.
Bingo. And the ones that are always the loudest, the ones that are always the ones to speculate, 99% of the time are incorrect. The ones that get texts from quote unquote sources instantly as soon as something comes out isn't usually the right one. It's not. It might be a piece of it, but in media and in journalism, we know this, guys. It's so important to have the entire picture. And so once again, but there's just no fact check. There's no moral basis. There's nothing on social media. And so that's why, we get to a spot where we're at right now, where people are having a lot worse of an image of Evan Cooper than maybe they even need to.
There's also times where if you do get those text messages at 2 a.m. from a source,
You don't need to post it.
you have to realize, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe I shouldn't let
I'm
this
looking
go,
at you,
because,
Terrell.
because guess what?
Stop
being first
You're a
isn't
fan
always
account.
the best.
You have a fan
Mhm.
account, Terrell. Your fan account. You're sharing. He doesn't even know what it
He
means.
doesn't know what he's talking
Go
about.
ahead.
Being first isn't always the best. Being right is the best. You don't have to be the first one with the news, the first one to crack a story. You have to be the one with the right information. Because if you go out there and you start throwing out infactual information, if you're throwing out speculation and lies and this just to get views
Engagement.
on your profile, it's gonna go the wrong way.
I would say this, good way to sum this all up. The people that get paid to do this have pictures of themselves on their profiles. There is a piece of accountability there. Notice how we don't know who any of these folks are that have sources or tweeted out or steal from articles or whatever the case may be. There's a piece of accountability from the folks that do this for a career. And it's disrespectful to them to take it away and be able to basically, this is not about being first. This is not about even like having the story. It does not matter. I couldn't tell you Pete Thamel was the first one yesterday, right? But like the credit is important. I'm saying like the actual, this guy had it for first. This girl had it first, right?
And sometimes
there's a lot of
them.
Yes, there's a lot of accountability opportunities, I think. And when you don't have a picture, you don't have a phone number, you're not in the public eye, you're just behind a screen with no facial recognition, with no tie to anything, it allows you to be as reckless as you want.
Let's take a break here and talk about the replacement for Evan Cooper. Nebraska moved quickly on this hire. Sounds like it's John Butler. He's got a pretty impressive resume. What does he bring to the table? What does that mean for Nebraska? We'll get to that and more here from the Lincoln Sports Foundation next.
Schaefer's has a savings on 4K TVs from Sony, Samsung, and LG. And rest easy. 24 months interest-free on qualified mattress purchases. Hurry in. The first 500 customers get an exclusive gift from Santa with their purchase during Schaefer's Original Christmas in July.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
You already know that Select Plumbing takes care of all your plumbing needs, including water heaters, faucet repairs, leaks, drips, sump pumps, and more. Now, they're able to help you with your heating and air conditioning as well. Select Plumbing has recently expanded into residential heating and air, and they're excited to bring this new service to their complete list of plumbing services. Call to book an appointment today at 402-560-6197 or go to selectplumbinginc.com, serving Lincoln, Seward, Milford, and the surrounding areas. You can get diesel anywhere, but what about Atomic Diesel? That comes from Stern. Atomic Diesel is your solution to all your cold weather problems. Prevent clogged fuel filters, increase your fuel economy, and save money with Atomic Diesel. Contact Roger at Stern today by calling 1-800-477-2744 to see how Atomic Diesel and the rest of their line of fuels and lubricants can keep your operation running at max capacity.
Hey, Nebraska! Registration is officially closed for the 40th Annual Cornhusker State Games, taking place July 11th through the 21st in Lincoln, Omaha, and other Nebraska communities. The Cornhusker State Games will feature 70 sports for athletes of all ages and abilities. If you didn't sign up but want to follow along for results or watch the action yourself, go to CornhuskerStateGames.com. Thanks to our partners, Nebraska Orthopedic Center, Pepsi Cola, Nebraska Medical Association, and Farmers Mutual of Nebraska. Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, Our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
There's that pit in my stomach. I hope that knot gets untangled and untied so that the Royals can be in contention for the playoffs come late August into September. I'm not holding my breath for it, but before I freak out and lose my mind about how bad things are right now, I'm going to choose to look back at last year and remember how bad 56 and 106 felt.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Foundation, 7600 North 70th Street in Lincoln. This is my first time out here since it got rebranded from the Abbott Sports Complex. Never made it out this way very often at all, but got a good group of campers out there. You guys mentioned the field. It does look very nice. My last football exploits were 8th grade. So
Really?
every single one of these kids would be running circles around me in terms of technique and because I am old.
I think I could do it. I think I could do one drill, and that's it.
What drill are you doing? If you
I don't
have
know.
a
I
choice?
wasn't a running back, so I don't know any of the running back drills.
You say like bags or ladder, or
I could do a ladder. I think I still got quick enough feet. I could do a
or
ladder
you could
drill.
be the dude that's hitting the kids with the pads as they run through. How about
Yeah,
that?
no, they'll knock me over. I'm small.
Rico,
I'm a small
low
guy.
man wins. Get low.
I'm a small
explode
guy.
through. Right, get low,
Although my
down, and through.
yeah, I mean that
Up
would
and
work.
through.
But my my high school coach, after my high school career was over, tells me, he comes up to me, he goes, Alvarez, he goes, if you wanted to be a running back, you probably would have started. And I'm like, Coach, I never said I didn't want to be a running back. I said I wanted to get on the field and play. I wasn't saying I just wanted to be a receiver in a corner. I wanted to play. And he's like, well, too late now.
Looks like Nick's done. It's you and me.
Yeah, apparently.
He
Nick
came
said that
back
he was,
and then walked away again.
he said he had to get out there.
Maybe we
at
can
some
get Bella
point.
in for some actual brains on this operation. We'll have to see
Potentially.
at some point. But news of the day, John Butler being hired to replace Evan Cooper as the Nebraska defensive backs coach, as well as the passing game coordinator, which you can mark me down as someone who forgot that Evan Cooper was not or just the defensive backs coach, that he also had passing game coordinator responsibilities.
That's a weird combination.
It is and it isn't.
Defensive back coach and passing game coordinator.
Well, it makes you what traditionally give it, you think, to receivers coach or quarterback coach?
I would think so. I mean, the thing is, your quarterback's coach is your co-offensive coordinator. Your tight ends coach is your co-offensive coordinator. So your wide receiver coach is Nick. He's Nick's age. So I don't know if I'd give him passing game coordinator duties. So, I mean, you're running out of people at that point.
But I also think it makes some sense to have the DBs coach there, because if you want to coordinate your passing game for an offense, what better way to do that than to know how the defense is going to attack you?
Get the guy who's
So,
running the guys who are defending
it's
the
the
guys
opposite
who are catching the passes.
Right.
I mean,
So-
I guess. I understand it. I just don't get it, which, again, and I've said this many a time when talking about sports, this is why I'm not in charge. This is why I'm not making any of these decisions.
Some
It's the only
background
reason.
on John Butler. He was actually the DBs coach and passing game coordinator for the Bills.
Okay.
So there's that. He's been in Buffalo for the last 6 years. Before that, he coached 4 seasons with the Houston Texans all of those years as defensive backs coach. But here's the interesting part before his time in the NFL. He followed Bill O'Brien to Houston. He was there as the defensive backs coach in 2012, and then also served as the defensive coordinator in 2013.
Out of Penn
He's been at Catholic University, Midwestern State, and Texas State. He's coached linebackers at Harvard and South Carolina. But the 2-3 most recent experiences, I think, have the most to tell us. Number one, DB's coach, passing game coordinator for the Bills, DB's coach with the Houston Texans, and then DB's coach and defensive coordinator at Penn State, the NFL experience and the Big Ten experience.
I don't know about you guys, but I know that the DBs in the passing game in Buffalo were pretty solid. And if he was in charge of those, then I feel really good about that. The one thing, and it's kind of going back to what Evan Cooper was doing, the one thing that I'm worried about isn't his ability to coach defensive backs, isn't his ability to handle a passing game coordination. It's his ability to recruit. He hasn't been in the recruiting game since 2013, you said, when he was at Penn State as the DC. Things have changed immensely in the recruiting game since then. And it's not like he's a young gun, kind of like Evan Cooper was, where it'd be easier for him to relate to the guys coming out of high school, going into college on some sort of level, because Evan Cooper, was with Matt Rule in Carolina. So it's not like he had that much experience in this new version of recruiting. But for Butler now, getting back into this recruiting game with NIL, with the transfer portal, with everything that's going on, I'm just slightly concerned on that side of things. But with his experience coaching-wise, his experience on the field, that doesn't worry me at all.
And those concerns are valid. We'll have to see how they play out in the future. Speaking of the future, a guy with Big Ten defensive coordinator experience, now at Nebraska, is he an option to replace Tony White if Tony White gets a head coaching job? You know how close Cooper and Rule were. Seems like Cooper would have been on the short list for a potential replacement for Tony White. Think about Terrence Knighton and his NFL experience. Rob Dvorak seems to be a rising star. He was named a 30 under 30 list, coaching the linebackers. And I know our own, inside middle stack linebacker, whatever terminology you want to use, Jay Foreman said, every defensive coordinator should be a linebacker. They have to communicate with both levels. They have to know everything. So Jay's vote will always go to the linebacker, and especially in case of a tie. But with Cooper gone, I think there was, some speculation it could have been him if Tony White had left. Now, I don't know how you don't give the job to John Butler if he does even an adequate job with the DBs, if Tony White does eventually get that head coaching opportunity that Matt Rule believes he deserves.
Having that experience as a defense coordinator at Penn State, knowing what it takes to be a defensive coordinator in the Big Ten, knowing what it is to help defenses out in the NFL goes a long way for John Butler. And Mitch Sherman of The Athletic even tweeted out that Butler has aspirations to lead his own defense again after his time as a defensive coordinator at Penn State. So it almost seems like a slam dunk if Tony White is to depart from Nebraska after this following season or whenever he decides to go, as long as Butler is still here, that he would be that next in line to take that mantle.
Only 1 year as DC at Penn State, so it's a very different Big Ten that John Butler walks into than the one he walked out of a decade plus ago. But it's still just interesting to at least consider that possibility. Rico, I want your thoughts on this topic too. I know Evan Cooper didn't leave for bigger, better things, but when a coach like a Tony White, let's say, gets a head coaching job, or Marcus Satterfield gets a call again at some point, whatever it might be, are you always more worried for the program because of the loss of continuity, or are you always taking it as a mark of honor and a badge of pride because, hey, someone else identified that this is a good coach, they wanted him, and it's good to see him move up in the world. The program was doing something right to get him hired somewhere else?
It's a badge of honor. It's a pride thing, because that shows that you have facilitated, not created, but kind of sort of, I guess that's kind of a word you could use, facilitated the rise of this person. Yes, they did a lot of this stuff on their own to get to this point, but you assisted them in getting to a higher level in order to gain a larger role somewhere else. And I think that is something that you've noticed that Rule kind of takes pride in doing that. That's something that he's been doing since his time at Temple. At Baylor, he was bringing in coaches. What's Texas Tech's head coach?
Joey McGuire.
Joey McGuire. Yeah, it's McGuire. I didn't know his first name. Joey McGuire. I mean, he brought him in from a high school coach to help him out at Baylor, and then he ends up, doing what he does, gets the head coaching job at Texas Tech. And that Matt Rule is extremely proud of him and proud of what he's doing there. And any other coach that has worked under Matt Rule that has gone on to bigger and better things, Rule is extremely proud of that. So, I kind of agree with his line of thinking there is, if I have somebody on my staff that gets poached to be a head coach or from a position coach to be a coordinator, or that's offensive, defensive, whatever, I would take pride in that, knowing that I was able to help this person reach this goal, which then in turn hopefully assists them in reaching their end goal, wherever that might be. So kind of like the Nick Saban school for coaches who don't coach good.
Right.
But this is helping guys rise to the top, as opposed to them being at the top, hitting rock bottom, and then getting back up there.
I think it does matter the context of the program as well. For example, Kansas lost its offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki, who ends up at Penn State now. I can see a lot of Kansas fans, they're on their come up, right? They're looking to have the most successful season, since last season, but before that, since 2007.
Yep.
I can understand how, they might be frustrated and say, oh, he took a lateral move. He took a lateral job. He's still an offensive coordinator at the D1 FBS level. But come on, you're still Kansas.
I wouldn't
right?
call
So
that
for
lateral.
Kansas, I would be worried about it, right? For a year that you're looking to take another step forward. If I'm a fan, I trust in Coach Leipold, and I believe in his ability to find the next guy, but it's still a big bummer that Coach Kotelnicki ended up, decamping for Happy Valley.
Well, the hard thing about that is, at a school like Kansas, at a school like that, where you've been bad for so long and you're finally on the come up, you have to realize you're going to take your lumps.
Right.
Now that you are on the come up, you're going to have other schools who might be far and away better than you, like Penn State is, or just slightly better than you. Let's say as I'm trying to think of a school that would be slightly better. Iowa, they're much better than Kansas. Whatever, a school that's slightly better than you.
Rutgers.
They're going to come. Yeah, Rutgers. They're going to come in and they're going to do their best to take your coaches if you're doing well. And yes, it's going to suck, and you can cry and moan all you want that it's a lateral move, but for a lot of these guys, it is a better job. Going from the Big 12, a descending, probably middling Big 12 where it's at right now, even with the additions that they made, to a Big 10 that is constantly going up and is looking at getting multiple teams into the college football playoff, Penn State being one of those teams. It's you want to feel bad about it. You can feel bad about it, but you also should look at it as a sort of badge of honor, saying, look, bigger schools want to come in here and take our guys. We just need to keep getting better to a point where bigger schools aren't going to come in here because we are that big school. Kansas is going to be that big school in terms of football, because you're not going to see, Kansas basketball assistants departing for another assistant job anywhere else, unless it's in the NBA or maybe Duke.
See, that's where it's interesting too. A guy like Jerome Tang at Baylor leaves from being an assistant at Baylor to a head coach at Kansas State. Yeah, lead assistant to head coach is a step up. Kansas State at that point wasn't the basketball school that Baylor was.
But I think that's just getting that chance to be
right, which is why I'm saying that's a bad example, right? Because it is actually the step up.
Yeah.
But what if we see those situations all the time? The flip side of that, though, is like you're saying with the Nick Saban school, coaching rehab schools, I call it, or even closer to home, John Cook and all his assistants. Right? Think about the amount of turnover that Nebraska has had with some of those assistant positions. It's been kind of crazy. Now, when Nebraska was first on the come up, on the rise, John Cook was able to keep his staff together. That's where the place that Nebraska football is at as a program right now, to me, says continuity is ideal, because you're still trying to build the program. It's not self-sustaining. And for a coach like Matt Rule, who wants to be that incubator for young coaches, there's not a lot of, old heads, experienced guys on staff. I mean, Satterfield's been around the game for a while. Donovan Raiola has been around the game for a while. Other than that, Knighton's still pretty new to the coaching game. Dvorak, young. EJ Barthel is just in his first, couple chapters of his coaching journey. McGuire, obviously. So, Foley's been around, I guess. There's not a lot of veteran coaches in place, and it's year 2 at a program. if I'm looking at this from the outside, just get the right people in the right seats at the right time. That's what ultimately matters. Doesn't matter, how old or young or developed or underdeveloped your program is. But right now, I think Nebraska is in a place where it needs as much stability as possible to reach those heights in a football sense. Because like volleyball, we see that it's pretty, self-perpetuating. Football isn't there yet. So I think football needs the continuity and a quiet offseason more so than, wearing a Tony White head coaching opportunity as a badge of honor.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from with that, but there's also this part of it, at least to me, where you look at, and like the Tony White thing, like that's just going to happen at some point, and there's really nothing we can do to stop that as long as the defense continues on the trajectory that they're on. Look, I'm sorry, Brett, you're going to lose Tony White at some point. He's going to be a head coach somewhere. Accept it, move on, whatever. As long as he can help this defense reach, fantastic heights and help this team reach fantastic heights, you're going to lose him. Just accept that right now. But to me, on a smaller sense, the younger guys are safer in a way that a Garrett McGuire is just getting his start as a position coach. I don't see many colleges saying after 2-3 years of that going, you know what, bring him in as a offensive coordinator or whatever here at this school. So when you hire younger guys who are like just getting started, if you have that much confidence in them, as Matt Rule does, then it's going to pay dividends, because to me, guys will stick around longer than the older guys. Because in certain situations, the older guys are like, yeah, this is going to be my last stop, right? Or I'm going to be here until I get a head coaching vacancy or a head coaching job somewhere else. And sometimes that doesn't come along. Sometimes it does. But I don't see many people hiring a special teams coordinator as a head coach at some point. So to me, the younger guys, kind of like a Terrence Knighton, a Garrett McGuire, a Rob Dvorak, are safe for a few more years just because they're just getting their starts, that I don't see many bigger schools coming into Nebraska and saying, we're going to take you and make you a coordinator over here as opposed to just another position coach. And I don't see a lot of those guys after getting, unless it's for whatever alma maters they're from, getting those position coaching offerings and saying, yeah, let me leave the guy who gave me my start to go somewhere else to do the same thing.
It's the risk with that is you pick the wrong one and then you're stuck with them. No one else wants to hire them. You feel bad firing them. But the benefit is, hey, they're young. They might, and this is way down the list of considerations. They might feel like they owe me, or they'll stick around out of loyalty, whatever. But I think that the bigger consideration for those coaches is it's where I'm comfortable. It's where I'm making my name. And for the head coach that hires them to begin with, it's I can mold this young man or woman into the coach I want them to be.
Yes.
I can teach them how to carry out what I want accomplished. Whereas an older coach, you have to make sure that they share your vision for the future and the way things are supposed to be run in the way that you intend as a head coach. Otherwise, there can be more button heads, maybe some more, stronger personalities, but I guess that could go both ways. Right here at the Lincoln Sports Foundation, we'll take a break or wrap up this hour of our content next.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl, Jordan, with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Let's talk commitment. And what better way to do that than with some shiny, sparkly jewelry? Am I right? Now, I'm not suggesting you have to rush, but if you're considering making a significant move, do your planning. We offer financing and payment plans. Lock down your selection with confidence. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Without a strong IT partner, your business ends up overspending, underperforming, wearing too many hats, complicating your work, and more. Applied Connective Technologies can help with experts in every facet of technology. If it plugs in, powers on, or charges up, they're your people. Imagine being able to call one team for all your technology solutions rather than a village of vendors and providers. For all your needs in managed IT and cybersecurity, phone systems, physical security, infrastructure, and audio or video, head to appliedconnective.com to better your business today.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Rodgers Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers. Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
All right, it's time for Final Jeopardy. It's been a tight contest today that all comes down to this final question. No summer picnic or family get-together or trip to the lake is complete without this particular item. Let's go first to Bob.
What is beer?
No, that's not it. Think about the kids. Over to you, Farley.
What is corn on the cob?
Tough to grill that on a boat. Wrong again. Grace, this time for the win.
What is Bure's cheese spread?
We have a winner! Bure's cheese spread, available in most local grocers in Nebraska.
Rashawn Jackson, the captain here for The Body Shop. And man, did they hook me up with a great massage recently. The captain has a lot of stress in his life, as many people do. And for 1 hour, it was all relieved. The team at The Body Shop gave me a deep tissue massage that hit every area that I was in pain at. Whether you're looking for a Swedish massage, sports massage, deep tissue, hot stone, aroma, or more, there's only one place to go. The Body Shop at 48th NA. Book an appointment today at thebodyshoplincoln.com.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
This is area race announcer James Rowland. Join me and Bree Fansteel every Sunday night from 7 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket for the Finish Line, where we cover all things motorsports from local racing to racing around the world. Every Sunday night from 7 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
IT issues wreaking havoc on your day? It's time to hire the experts. It's time to hire Hamilton. When it comes to your business, you don't have time to worry about network security, data backup, and protection, or support when devices slow down or stop working. At Hamilton, we ensure that your technology is up to speed and works as hard as you do. Don't let IT issues slow you down. You deserve better. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back one final time for this hour here from the Lincoln Sports Foundation. Rico.
Yes, sir.
If you had to guess, how many consecutive at-bats is the record for the most hits in a row?
What do you mean?
How many consecutive at-bats has a player gotten a hit in Major League Baseball history?
Isn't that the consecutive, not just
at-bats. Not total hits.
I was like, isn't that like the 70 some, 80 some?
No, the most consecutive at bats ending with a hit. Did you have a guess?
7. Can't be that much.
Try 12.
How?
Who? Jose Miranda of the Minnesota Twins is working on his 12th straight at bat with a hit. In the 13th plate appearance, he was hit by a pitch. He had 11 hits. No, he had 11 hits.
Okay.
Got hit by a pitch and then got a 12th hit. So it still counts because the plate appearance is not an at bat. So if hit by pitch does not count as an official at bat.
Oh,
It's just a plate appearance. So Jose Miranda of the Minnesota Twins, single, double, single, double, single, double, single, double, home run, single, single, hit by pitch, single. In these last 13 plate appearances, his batting average has jumped from 294 to 330.
I'm going to be honest with you. Hit by pitch still counts.
It's a plate appearance. It's not an at bat.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so it's at bats, not plate appearances.
Yes.
Consecutive
at bats.
At bats. Okay, that makes sense then.
12 straight at bats, ending with a hit for Jose Miranda. Guess the last time this happened in Major League Baseball?
Has it ever happened?
I don't know. Has it?
If it did, it must have been like 1960 something.
1952. Walt Dropo.
Who is that?
Darned if I know. I had
Walt
never heard of this
Dropo
man before.
Yep, that makes sense.
Seeing this from Jeff Passan.
52.
So yeah, let's see. Yeah, single to center, double to left, single to third, 2-run double, single to center, double to right, RBI, single to left, solo homer, RBI double, single to right, hit by pitch, run scoring single.
What do you know?
Pretty incredible
That is
for
a
a
weird
Twins team that is up to second place in the AL Central now.
Yeah, that is a very strange. How many games was that?
12
at bats. I would say
three games.
Yeah.
I think working on the fourth game right now.
That is just a ridiculous stretch from hit. Like you hear guys who are on 12 game hitting streaks, and you're like, oh, you got a hit in the last 12 games. This guy got 12 hits in 4 games. Like
it has also happened 2 other times, aside from Jose Miranda this year, Walt Dropo for the 1952 Detroit Tigers. Someone by the name of Pinky Higgins did it for the 1938 Boston Red Sox.
It had to be like the 30s. His name was Pinky.
And then this will be before 1938, Johnny Kling.
Johnny Kling.
Kling.
Okay.
Of the 1902 Chicago Cubs.
1902.
Different
Shout out
game.
to all of those people.
It is.
That is a weird list of names to have such a monumental, at least to me, accomplishment. Like that's.
Oh, they're nobodies.
No disrespect to Jose Miranda, but they're like nobody's heard of these people.
No.
If you have, you're like a diehard Cubs, Tigers. Who was the second? The
Red Sox.
Third Red Sox fan.
But
even if you're a
diehard
diehard,
fans,
I don't know.
No.
Bach, did you know who that was? I know you're a diehard Red Sox
Pinky
fan.
Higgins, 1938 Red Sox. No, Bach did not know. So 4th time in MLB history that has happened. First time in WNBA history that a rookie has a triple-double. Guess who?
Caitlin Clark.
19, 13, and 12 as Indiana came back to beat New York today.
Look at Caitlin Clark go. I understand that people are saying that Angel Reese is their rookie of the year because the Chicago Sky have a better record and, she's got so many double-doubles and what have you. But what Caitlin Clark is doing against the defense that she's facing is, again, nothing short of incredible. Like, Caitlin Clark is facing hard hedges. The ball screens are coming at like right after half court, and she's having to fight around everything. She's getting played extremely physical. And yes, what Angel Reese is doing is amazing in its own way. Getting like 5 offensive rebounds on one possession where she misses four layups and then finally makes the 5th one. Don't get me wrong. That's still impressive, even if she's missing all those shots because she's getting her own boards. But Caitlin Clark is going to be and should be the rookie of the year this year. The Indiana Fever were a very bad team before she got there, and just because she's on the team, she's not going to automatically make them a playoff contender and the best team in the league, but they are having a better season than they were before.
I also just saw this pop up from Keith Law back on the baseball train for a second here. On this date 38 years ago, the Toronto Blue Jays traded right-hander Doyle Alexander to the Atlanta Braves for right-hander Dwayne Ward. Okay, whatever. Don't know who either of those players are.
Doyle and Dwayne.
How about this? Doyle Alexander was traded 7 times in his career, 5 times on his own, twice with other players. 2 times, Doyle Alexander was traded for Hall of Famers. He was traded for Frank Robinson.
Okay.
And he was traded for John Smoltz.
Why does everybody love Doyle so much?
Well, they gave him up.
Yeah,
but the other team won, I guess.
But yeah, you're able to, on his own, like
right. The total wins above replacement for all the players that Doyle Alexander was traded for over 270 wins above replacement.
So
I would
Doyle-
say that's worth it.
So obviously Doyle was like 300 above wins above replacement. Obviously, right?
I credit him with at least the total wins above replacement of all the players he was traded for.
Doyle has to
at
be in the
least.
Hall of Fame, right? There has to be
For
some,
that, I would
like
hope.
maybe not him specifically, but like his jersey or something. Like this is the guy who was traded this amount of times for these Hall of Famers, and this is his wins above replacement. Like that has to be in there. Give Doyle some credit.
May as well. Doyle Alexander, congratulations to you. Let's take a break. We'll come right back here from the Lincoln Sports Foundation first annual youth running backs. Cam Frashon is leading that. The captain, he's not on air with us. 1 more hour for us. We will be here until 4. Thanks for sticking with us. Keep it right here on 93.7 The Ticket.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solutions. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
Do you have a new address or phone number? Update your info with Powerline, LES's outage reporting system. Visit les.com/powerline or call 402-475-4211 to sign up.
IT issues wreaking havoc on your day? It's time to hire the experts. It's time to hire Hamilton. When it comes to your business, you don't have time to worry about network security, data backup, and protection, or support when devices slow down or stop working. At Hamilton, we ensure that your technology is up to speed and works as hard as you do. Don't let IT issues slow you down. You deserve better. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Are you or someone you love struggling with substance use? The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Tread's Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Tread Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Tread Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
Without a strong IT partner, your business ends up overspending, underperforming, wearing too many hats, complicating your work, and more. Applied Connective Technologies can help with experts in every facet of technology. If it plugs in, powers on, or charges up, they're your people. Imagine being able to call one team for all your technology solutions rather than a village of vendors and providers. For all your needs in managed IT and cybersecurity, phone systems, physical security, infrastructure, and audio or video, head to appliedconnective.com to better your business today.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission.
If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
The birds are singing, but the bells are ringing, not a cloud in the sky, but the Yuletide is high.
Santa's sleigh is full of savings on appliances from Whirlpool, Maytag, and KitchenAid. Update your kitchen and get up to $3,000 in rebates on KitchenAid packages, plus free local delivery. Hurry in. The first 500 customers get an exclusive gift from Santa with their purchase during Shaver's
Christmas in July.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, Dan. We're back. Give Rico a cough break here for this first segment. Maybe some coughs here. If you have some, please send it to 7600 North 70th Street, the Lincoln Sports Foundation. Here for another hour. Lots to talk about. Rico, you are going through it, my man. I
sat back too fast.
Oh, no, you tried on the wall, Rico. No. Rico's had in concussion protocol. Oh, now concussion for the – gosh dang, Rico. There's a wall there, my guy.
Yeah, I forgot the wall was so close. I sat back really fast, smacked the back of my head on the wall. Oh, that hurt. That one hurt.
Yeah, I can't see if you have a cut through your afro.
Nah, I'll be fine. I don't feel any blood. We're good. We're fine. I don't know if I'll be able to drive back now.
Yeah, those last few brain cells are going to have to work overdrive for this next hour.
There weren't any left.
I believe in you. 402-464-5685. Again, we are taking your comments and questions here for the next hour. Rico, have you ever heard of the blue chip ratio in college football?
I have heard of blue chip recruits, but I have not heard of the blue chip ratio. And also, when I heard of blue chip recruits, I think that was like Jay Foreman and Terrell Farley and Rashawn Jackson telling me about, because they didn't have stars back when they were recruited, but they were like, yeah, you had the blue chips and you were in like the magazines and all this. Like that, I've heard of that, but I haven't, nothing after that. No.
So now blue chip is essentially 5 stars and the high 4 stars. Well, Bud Elliott of 24/7 Sports every year puts together his blue chip ratio list of teams that can win the college football national championship. Ooh. The blue chip ratio is very simple. Do you have more 4 and 5 star players on your roster than 2 and 3 star players?
That seems very hard to do.
It is very hard to do. But here's how the blue chip ratio has done in predicting national champions. So this will go back to 2011. Okay, so last year, Michigan, 54% of Michigan's roster, 4 and 5 stars. They win the national title.
Okay.
2022, Georgia, 77%, 4 and 5 stars.
Goodness gracious.
2021, Georgia, 80%. 4 and 5 stars.
Okay, before you keep going, how do you have that many 5 and 4 stars? Like, I understand there's a decent amount of 4 stars out there, but there's like 30 some 5 stars every year.
It's over a 4-year period. So
okay, so you're
it's not year by year. It's on your roster right now. Over any 4-year period, what percentage are blue chip 4 or 5 star recruits?
You're collecting them like Pokemon cards,
right? Okay, so 3 of the 4 teams in that 2021 college football playoff were blue chip ratio teams. Cincinnati was the outlier.
And they got rocked.
2020 Alabama, 83%. All 4 college football playoff teams had 50% 4 or 5 stars or more.
Okay.
2019 LSU, 64%. 2018 Clemson, 68%. 2017 Alabama, 80%. Here's a little bit of an outlier. It crosses the threshold, but just barely. 2016 Clemson, 52%.
But they had the 4 and 5 stars at the right spots.
That's what matters.
That's yeah. You might not. They had their best wide receiver that year was probably a
Hunter Renfrow,
2-star, 3-star. I don't know what he was. Might have been a walk-on.
Or no, Renfrow would have been 18.
Oh,
yeah, because he walked Bama off in 18.
Oh, that was Trevor Lawrence. That was the Trevor Lawrence team. Yeah.
16 would have been Deshaun.
Yeah.
So, anyways, 2017 Alabama 80%, 2016 Clemson 52%, 2015 Bama 77%, 2014 Ohio State 68%, 2013 Florida State 53%, 2012 Bama 71, and 2011 Bama 71%. So dating back to 2011, 52% or more of your roster has had to be a 4 or 5-star player according to the RSCI for you to be in contention and win the national championship outside of Cincinnati. All right, who are the teams?
I can't see many teams being above that 52% threshold.
And transfers are not included. So this is just high school recruiting.
Okay, so that makes it
think
even
about
tougher.
that.
Okay.
Okay, here are the
so
teams.
Definitely not Colorado.
Correct. Who do you think has the highest amount, the highest
Georgia.
ratio of 4 stars and 5 stars?
It's either Georgia or Ohio State.
Are you sure?
Well, now I'm not. You know what? I'm sticking with it. I'm going to say Georgia.
Georgia is third at 80%.
It's Michigan.
Third at 80%. Michigan is second to last, according to this ratio, with 56%.
Okay.
And Michigan had to really build to that under Harbaugh.
They had to rebuild. Okay.
So you have number 3 and you have number 15, I believe.
Okay. So Ohio State is in the top 5.
Ohio State is number 1.
There it is.
Guess what percentage of Ohio State's roster was a 4 or 5-star recruit in high school?
What was the highest? Hold on. I feel like the highest
Georgia's
one was
at
like
80 right now, and they're third.
They're at 80 and they're third. Okay, so Alabama in 2020 was 83. Georgia was 80 in 2021. Okay, so 83 looks like it was the highest. I'm going to say they're right. I'm going to say they're 83.
83 would replace Georgia for third on this list.
Cheese and crackers.
Ohio State, 90%, 4 and 5 stars out of high school on its roster right now. When we tell you Ohio State is loaded this year, that they're a national title favorite, the Big Ten favorite, that their NIL budget is doing work, 90% of Ohio State's recruits out of high school on the roster right now were 4 or 5 stars.
You talk about hoarding talent.
Yes.
You talk about being a talented team. 90% of their goodness gracious. That's how does anybody else have any talent on their roster?
Guess who number 2 is?
It's got to be another SEC team.
Are you sure?
Yes. Oh no, Texas.
It is not Texas.
Oh,
Texas is 7th on this list at 72%.
Alabama.
It is Alabama at 88%.
I hate how you do that.
There is some talent for Kalen DeBoer.
Kalen
year
DeBoer
one in Tuscaloosa.
Have you seen how his recruiting has been going?
Pretty dang well.
Kalen DeBoer, look, I doubted
Couldn't
him.
hold on to Caleb Downs, but not bad.
And whatever. I'm going to continue to doubt Kalen DeBoer. And I will be wrong about it, but I'm okay with it because I got to stick by my guns. I can't back off now.
All right, team switching conferences. Oregon, the highest blue chip ratio, 76%.
Okay.
You mentioned Texas at 72.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is higher, Oklahoma or USC?
Ooh, Oklahoma just got tied for their highest ranked player committing in the
one player does not move these rankings
in the new. But I'm saying if he was tied with their highest rated recruiting or highest rated recruit committing under the new regime, he was only a 4-star. So I would say USC has more talent.
Oklahoma,
Dang.
73%
Dang.
blue chip ratio. That's 1 percentage point ahead of Texas. USC is at 59% blue chip ratio.
Okay.
So your top 5 are Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, Mystery School, and Oregon.
Mystery School.
Oregon.
I don't think anybody else in the Big Ten, because you said Michigan's all the way down there. I don't think anybody else in the Big Ten's out recruiting those two. Definitely not even the newcomer in Washington.
It's not Washington. It is an SEC school. I'll give you that much.
It's in the SEC. I would say what school has been recruiting at a very Tennessee's been at a high level. You already mentioned Texas.
Not the Vols.
Florida does their thing.
Nope.
LSU
is below Texas for number 8 on the list at 70%. This school, 79% of its roster is blue chip talent. If I tell you, it's going to make perfect sense.
Ole Miss got a lot of transfers, so it's not them. Texas A&M.
A&M.
There it is.
79%. So your top 8, Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, A&M, Oregon, Oklahoma, Texas, LSU. All right. The bottom 8 on this list, which again is
still
top 16.
Over 50% of your roster is 5 and 4 stars.
Right. Notre Dame, at 67%. That one surprised me. I didn't realize Marcus Freeman had been able to hold on to that many stars and taking over for Brian Kelly.
Nick would have told you that Marcus Freeman is the best damn recruiter in the land and one of the best damn coaches out there.
He would have.
Isn't that right? And the greatest looking one too, as Nick says. That is very surprising. I'm not going to pretend that I keep up on other teams recruiting all that much, but seeing like the edits that go out there, not a lot of Notre Dame edits that go out there for the higher rated players. So that is extremely surprising to me, especially and considering that, with the new college football playoff and the highest rated the highest rated conference team or the conference winner and then the highest rated teams get in, Notre Dame might be on the outside looking just because they're an independent. Maybe kids aren't looking at that quite yet, but I feel like that might come into play at some point if they keep refusing to join a conference.
All right, after Notre Dame, Dabo and Clemson at 64%, Florida at 63%, and Miami at 61%.
So Dabo and Clemson surprises me more than Notre Dame because he doesn't utilize the transfer portal. With the success that he has had, granted it has fallen off a little bit, the fact that he doesn't use the portal and keeps going after these high school guys, that's what surprises me, is that his roster is so low on that. I don't know if that surprises you at all.
Given the way the results have gone, I mean, they're still recruiting at a decently high level, but I wouldn't be shocked if that starts to taper off.
Okay.
Clemson, being about halfway between Atlanta and Charlotte, is always going to be in a pretty prime location to grab talent. And I think Dabo is PJ Fleck Southeast in a lot of ways. You love him or you hate him. You're attracted to his message. You're all the way bought in, or you're that guy's a weirdo. Why do I ever go play for him?
You think his shtick is running low?
I think that we see this across sports. I don't think it's just Dabo, but I mean, think about Antonio Brown, right? His shtick got old as soon as the talent didn't outweigh the production.
They're crazy.
That's really what it comes down to. Do I think Dabo Swinney is in any danger of getting fired? Absolutely not. I don't believe that he is. But maybe Dabo's going to be one of those guys who falls on his own sword, right? Ooh. Who says, I'm going to keep doing things my way until you fire me. I mean, this is little old Clemson, won the one title back in the 80s. Not a lot going for it in between Danny Ford and Dabo Swinney eras necessarily. It would be a gutsy move, and I don't think Dabo's a guy you approach and say, hey, can we find an off-ramp somewhere where you remain an advisor? Can we have you take a year off and then pick it back up at some, mid-major school that would love to have you? We don't want to fire you. We appreciate everything you've done for this university, but come on, you see as well as we are that this isn't working. I don't know if we're close to that happening, but it feels like the way it's heading. But I do think I'm not shocked by Clemson being at 64. I mean, it feels about right? A good program with some recent history and tradition, with a good sales pitch in a good market with a track record. But how sold are you on the direction of the program? I guess we'll see. So, yeah, Florida and Miami then at 63 and 61%.
Florida's staying that high. Not surprising because it's Florida, and as the saying goes, you could throw a rock in Florida and hit a 5-star.
Right.
So it's not that surprising that they're still up there. But with the fall off that Miami and Florida have seen, it's interesting to see them still recruiting at such a high level.
Okay, 2 teams on the list: team number 13 and team number 16, playing on Wednesday in your Big Ten men's basketball tournament. If this were a bracket,
okay.
One of the teams, the Big Ten team, I think you should get. The other team would probably take you a while.
Okay, so it's a Big Ten team.
Yep, that ranks, has 5% more blue chips on its roster than Michigan and 2% more than USC.
That doesn't make any sense.
And you were correct in saying it was not Washington.
Did I already say Penn State?
You did not say Penn State. Would you like to?
It's Penn State.
It is Penn State, 61%.
There are 3 Big Ten schools outside of the now added Oregon and USC. There are 3 Big Ten schools that recruit at that high of a level. So Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State, and nobody's close to them.
Correct. The final team on the list.
If you give me the conference, would it give it away?
Well, you already went through a lot of schools down in this region of the country. I will tell you it is in the southeast corner of the country. I will not tell you if it is an SEC or an ACC team.
It's Florida State.
Florida State is at 49%. They just miss the list. But Elliott says they should get there next year at the latest, if not in 2 years. But yeah, 49%
Not Florida State.
for Florida State.
It is down there. You're not telling me if it's SEC or ACC. We went through Miami, we went through Florida, we went through Florida State. Have I said this team already?
You named so many teams, I can't say I was listening with full clarity. I don't believe you have mentioned this team
I
yet.
want to say LSU.
LSU is already on the
Feel like,
list.
yeah, they're already on the list.
Yep. And it is not Ole Miss. I will give you that much.
In that region of
It
the
is not
country. It's
Virginia
not-
Tech.
It's not. Oh, we're over there. Okay. Okay.
It is not Virginia. It is not North Carolina.
It's not Duke. It's not.
Is it?
It's not. Don't do that. It's not Duke.
Is it?
It's not Duke.
Would you like
if
to
it's
guess?
Duke, I'm going to lose my mind. Is it Duke?
Well, you already lost your mind on these bricks behind
Is it
you.
Duke?
It is not Duke.
That's what I thought. Jerk. I'm not.
What if I told you that I saw a Hall of Fame celebration for a man from this university last weekend?
No, that's a team I wasn't going to mention because I didn't think it was them. Is it? It's Auburn.
It's Auburn.
How?
53% of Auburn's roster, 4 or 5 stars.
How in the ever living love is Auburn? I almost said it anyways. Is Auburn over 50% 5 and 4 stars? How?
Hugh Freeze effect, baby.
Goodness
Ryan
gracious.
Harsin effect.
Shout out to Liberty.
But I think we can break this down even further into tiers, right? Auburn, is anyone taking seriously as a college football playoff
No,
contender?
not in the slightest.
And maybe that's when they're most dangerous, when you're not taking them seriously, but I'm not buying Auburn.
Look, they don't have Cam Newton. All right.
No.
They don't have anybody that's Cam. They don't have one guy who's going to be able to drag them to a college football playoff and potentially a national championship. They can have the 53% 5 and 4 stars, but it's not to the same level as any of the other teams mentioned on this list.
Michigan, I'm out on.
Nah.
Fringe contender for the playoff.
They will be the 5th best team in the Big Ten.
Valid. USC, I think a lot needs to go right for them. There's a lot of pieces there, and they're even at the bottom of this list. Penn State, I think, has to make the playoff. And this is where I want to have a little conversation, Rico.
Okay.
61%, 13th out of the 16 teams that Bud Elliott says can win a national championship based just off their talent alone. Does Penn State achieve what it should? Does Penn State overachieve? Does Penn State underachieve?
As Penn State has done year after year, they will underachieve. They will make the college football playoff. They will win a game, and then they will lose. And they will be very sad, but they will also be elated at the fact that they got that far and say what they say every year. We're right there. All we need is this, and we'll be contending for titles next year. It's going to be James Franklin is a constant underachiever. That's all he is. He's not overachieving. He's just achieving. He's there.
He's just whelming.
He's on. Yeah, he's there.
Very whelming.
On the fringe of winning the Big Ten East, which is pretty much winning the Big Ten every single year. But he loses to Ohio State or Michigan. Then he loses another game that he shouldn't lose. And then they get left out, and they're sad, and they're mad, and they win their bowl game. And that's going to be Penn State every single year until James Franklin either leaves or figures out what's going wrong.
But if you look at blue chip ratio,
they're not going to do
Penn
it.
State's doing what it's supposed to do. Not as talented as Ohio State. Michigan really popped up there at the end. So maybe you could say Penn State underachieved last year, but had more talent than Michigan did. But think about how close Michigan got to the title the year before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people were picking Michigan ahead of Penn State, even with the talent difference. So if Penn State's talent is the 3rd best in the old Big Ten East, and they're finishing 3rd best in the old Big Ten East, it's hard for me to call them underachievers. Maybe they're overhyped, but according to the talent and where they're picked in the preseason, I think Penn State is achieving right what it should be under James Franklin. In fact, there hasn't been a breakthrough yet. Might be kind of surprising to some, but maybe we've just had the wrong read on Penn State the whole time.
Well, I maybe because I'm looking at it from a point of they've had all this talent for so long, and they've been on the cusp every single year. And yes, they're finishing 3rd with the 3rd best talent, but at some point you expect them to break through at least one year, and they just haven't done that. So kind of looking at it from that aspect of things, it seems as if they are underachieving year after year. But I guess looking at it from the side that you're at, you're right at where you should be. You're not overachieving or underachieving. You're doing exactly what you should be, and you're just waiting for that break. But to me, you've been waiting for that break for so long that anything less than, being one of the final 4 teams appearing in the championship is going to be underachieving. If you make it to me, if you as Penn State make it to the championship game, you've overachieved by a large margin. But with the talent that they have, yes, they're sitting right in line with the blue chip ratings. But with the talent they have and have had for so long, to me, they've been an underachieving team under James Franklin.
All right, teams that could potentially bust the blue chip model, and then we'll look at how do transfers play into this as well, if you do add transfers into this. But first, teams that could bust the blue chip ratio. But Elliott says, I don't actually think the blue chip ratio will hold forever. Standards are made to be broken. At some point, a team with maybe a high 40s number, a transcendent quarterback, and great injury luck could bust this. It's probably bound to happen. The closest we had to this was Clemson in 2015. They led Alabama at halftime. Nick Saban calls the onside kick. Of course, it's Deshaun Watson at quarterback. But Elliott says Florida State would have been an interesting case had Jordan Travis not been injured, although doubters would point out, according to Bud Elliott, that FSU was 7th in popular power ratings before Travis went down. So, okay, maybe not. If you're going the transcendent QB, good injury luck, and just outside of the 50% mark, Tennessee. The way Nico Iamaleava looked against Iowa in the bowl game, Tennessee's 4% short of the blue chip ratio. They play in the SEC, so if they're a top 3, top 4 team, they're most likely in. What do you think about Florida State and Tennessee?
Florida State, not so much.
Even DJ there at QB?
I don't know.
Nick's guy, DJ Uiagalelei.
Yeah, Nick loves DJ Uiagalelei. I'm not 100% sold on leading Florida State to that elusive ACC title and college football playoff championship berth or anything. But Tennessee with Nico, I like that. Iamaleava. I say I'm a leaving. That's what it looks like. He's a leaving. But with Nico there, I think that Tennessee, what they showed in the bowl game against a gritty Iowa defense, I like the way that they're looking. I would pick them as my blue chip buster.
All right.
Blue chip bracket buster.
BCBB.
Yeah, my BCBB.
Let's add transfers into the equation.
So Ohio State jumps to 100%, right?
No, they go down.
What?
Pretty much every school goes down. The only school on this list that does not go down, I believe, is Clemson. And why doesn't Clemson go down?
Because they don't take transfers.
Because Clemson doesn't take transfers. So
because
the Tigers still sit at 64%.
What does he say? None of them are good enough to be on my team anyways?
Pretty much.
That's ridiculous.
Ohio State from 90 down to 86. Bama 88 to 82. Georgia 80 to 77. Oregon 76 to 71. Texas 72 to 70. LSU down a handful of points. Oklahoma down 9 percentage points. Notre Dame down 4. A&M down 16%. Florida down 3. Penn State down 4. Miami down 5. USC down 5. Michigan down 2. And Florida State up 4.
So the question is, do they take their high school star ranking or do they take their transfer star ranking?
Trying to figure that out.
Because some people, when they go into high school, is 3 stars or whatever, they get bumped up because they have really good, freshman, sophomore seasons. So they'll be, 3-4 star guys in the transfer portal. Again, you're not going to see a lot of 4-star, 5-star guys in the transfer portal, but there are enough that it could pay dividends to a lot of teams in these blue chip rankings if that was the star ranking they were taking. Because I guarantee, I don't know what Ole Miss's running back who's now at Ohio State, Quinshon Judkins' star rating coming out of high school was, but I guarantee you going to Ohio State from Ole Miss, he was definitely a high 4-star, maybe a 5-star.
Interesting stuff there. Nebraska a ways off of that list, as is any Big 12 team. So no Big 12 representation, 8 SEC, a handful of Big 10 and ACC, and then the one independent in Notre Dame. Who's
the closest Big 12 team?
Didn't even give one because they weren't that close.
He said, it is?
I have no idea.
Utah.
Probably not, but maybe. I hope so. Zona, maybe?
Probably.
I don't know.
Whatever. We
can look into it later. He's Rico. I'm Austin. A couple more segments to go here from the Lincoln Sports Foundation after this.
Ready to score big with your projects? Look no further than Edward Stone, the MVP of natural stone for over 2 decades. Edward Stone is cranking out over 30,000 square feet every week and offers a winning lineup of over 70 quality natural veneer stone selections. Their unbeatable variety and experienced team will ensure your project is a success, whether it's a home renovation or a commercial build. And hey, they're not just about stone. They've got an all-star lineup of fireplaces, cast stone, brick, and much more. Swing by one of their locations in Lincoln or Omaha today and experience the Edward Stone difference, your reliable choice for over 20 years.
At Doane University, we build leaders, and that means your success and achievements come first.
At Doane University, your future is uniquely yours, and our world-class liberal arts education is just the beginning.
We invite you to schedule your campus visit and experience why Doane University will start you on your journey to your future career.
Learn more by scheduling your personal campus visit today at doane.edu/visit. See you soon.
Your business runs like a well-oiled machine. It's important that your actual machines do too. Stern is here to make sure you don't have to worry about that. They provide solutions for heavy equipment and automotive fuels, lubricants, and equipment guard options. And with Stern's commitment to customer service for the past 40 years, you know you have a partner to help support your operations for years to come. Contact Roger at Stern Company by calling 1-800-477-2744 or visit them online at stern.co. Stern Company, where problems meet solvers.
IT issues wreaking havoc on your day? It's time to hire the experts. It's time to hire Hamilton. When it comes to your business, you don't have time to worry about network security, data backup, and protection, or support when devices slow down or stop working. At Hamilton, we ensure that your technology is up to speed and works as hard as you do. Don't let IT issues slow you down. You deserve better. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring a friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month.
Hurry, this deal ends soon.
See Home Club for details.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Old School with DP and J.
And Todd Bowles, I'm gonna tell you this, DP, his voice does not match his body type.
That's what I'm saying. He's never I don't know how you can be led by Todd Bowles' voice.
That's a fireable offense anyway.
Like his facial expression is top notch. Then his voice, because it's literally you're there expecting. It's like Mike Tyson.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln. Soulful Casino in Havelock is a family-owned business, providing incredible food and service that'll have you craving more with every bite. Soulful Casino offers everything from pulled pork to fried chicken, catfish, ribs, and even quesadillas. You want sides? They've got them. From fries, green beans and baked beans, to collard greens, potato salad, and sweet dill corn. Stop by for lunch as they have specials Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. That's Soulful Casino, located in Havelock, where every bite you take fills the soul.
Do you have a new address or phone number? Update your info with Powerline, LES's outage reporting system. Visit les.com/powerline or call 402-475-4211 to sign up.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, change of plans. We are going to be wrapping up from the Lincoln Sports Foundation. The camp has come to a close. Looks like we have some weather moving in on the horizon. Congrats to everyone that participated. It seemed like it was a great day out here. Cooler, but rain on the way. So we're going to call it quits here from the Lincoln Sports Foundation. Heck of a camp put on by VJ, the special Husker guest as well. It's been a fun time being out here broadcasting from 70th and essentially Highway 77. We will talk to you tomorrow as Ticket Weekends continues on Sunday. Thanks for listening to 93.7 The Ticket, live from the Lincoln Sports Foundation.